Hello and welcome to another sexually explicit episode of the Hellion Rebellion Rock and Roll Association, brought to you by Holly Geist. Some people claim that sexually explicit is my middle name. We're going back in time. We're gonna talk about a genre of music called death rock, which is essentially punk rock. It would get started in the late 70s, um, early 80s. It'd be bands that would champion this would be um, maybe early Sisters of Mercy, the Southern Death Cult, um, 45 Grave. Later on in the mid 80s, Sam Hain would be a death rock band. You can make an argument for some of the Bauhaus material, maybe some of the Cramps material, and the other really big band that would kind of start this would be a band called Christian Death. Christian Death comes from Los Angeles, California. They would get started in 1979. And in some form or fashion, these guys are still around today. A man by the name of Roz Williams and Rick Agnew, who would later go on to be in one of LA's most famous punk bands, the Adolescents, would be the guys who started Christian Death. Christian Death would put out their first record, Only Theater of Pain, which is, after all these years, is considered a must-have classic punk rock record. And then they would put out a second record called Catastrophe Ballad, which I'm actually not familiar with that record. In the mid 80s, a guy by the name of Valor Can would take over the band. He and Roz had troubles, and Valor or Valen would take this band over, and all the original members of Christian Death would be out of the band, and you have a whole brand new version of Christian Death. This splits up the fan base. These guys are going for more of a Susie and the Banshees, kind of more of electronic rock kind of thing. I mean, it's not a bad band. They're pretty good. I think the name Christian Death holds them back from any kind of mainstream success, and they've already lost a lot of their hardcore punk followers. So we get into the late 80s, early 90s, and this is when I really discover this band. This is the first time I really hear them. And it's with this record here, or tape in this case, The Iron Mask. This comes out in 1992. I am very familiar with punk rock by this time. However, I'm late to the Christian Death game. Roz Williams is back in the band. He recreates the old Christian Death, and they put out this record. However, Cond, I don't know how you say his name, he's not having it, and he claims that Roz doesn't have the rights to the name. There's legal trouble, and Valor Can will win this legal battle. So after the Iron Mask, Roz Williams has to call Christian Death featuring Roz Williams. However, Iron Mask is probably the only record that when he comes back out that is just called Christian Death. Again, this is an era of Christian death that people aren't too fond of, even with Roz Williams back at the helm. But again, if I was to suggest one of these guys' records to you, to somebody a lot younger than me, it's going to be the first record, Only Theater of Pain. That is a hands down classic must have punk rock record or death rock record. But again, or to further the story, um, Cand and Williams are both doing Christian Death in the early to mid 90s. There's two versions of this band, and depending on where you are in the country or what tour they're on, determines what version of this band that you're seeing. And I think that holds true today. It's kind of like Rat had two Rats for a while. There was the Stephen Piercy Rat, and then there was the Jizzy Pearl Rat. I think Great White had two versions. There was Great White and there was Jack Russell's Great White. Christian Death is kind of in that same boat. Or not kind of, they are in that same boat. Again, I don't know if that's holding true today. So, I'm going to play you the very first song on this, which is I consider the best song on this record, even though they do have a live version of Burnt Offerings on here, which is an old school classic. How about we jam this thing? Because that's about all I know about this band. And I'd like to hear your opinions on Christian Death, and especially the late 80s, early 90s version of this band. So let's go ahead and do this now.
I've got the image of Jesus embedded in my chest. I can't be home without my bulletproof vest. Killing myself for a perfect honeymoon. Fighting scorpions tied around my neck. I hear the pitter patter of the killer on the loose. Children use their fingers instead of words. Crosses burn my temples on Slaughter Avenue. It takes too much time for me to say I refuse. Time is digging graves for the chosen few. Children dig the graves of me and you. Describe the illness, I prescribe the cure. Start your 2-day life on a 2-day vacation. Describe the illness, I prescribe the cure. Start your 2-day life on a 2-day vacation. Spiritual climb going for my ribs. Those gangsters dropping guns and shooting spikes in my ribs. Children use their fingers instead of words. Fingers bury children under the boards. I can die 1,000 times, but I'll always be here with the powder skull. Secrets of forgotten years. The hangman uses drenched with blood-stained tears. My hands are the killers that can burn my fears. Jesus, won't you touch me? Come in to my heart. Where the hell are you? And when the fire starts, I'm using my fingers instead of words. I'm using my fingers instead of words. On a mission of the Father to reduce the gates of hell, the ivory bone-eyed mother's flesh is starting to swell. I'm setting 22 tables for the funeral feast. Satan is by far the kindest beast.
There you go. Spiritual Cramp by Christian Death. That's a big name. I think it's always kind of held him back a little bit. Because these guys have always put out some pretty good songs. They put out some clunkers. But any kind of success that they could have had, that name holds them back. Kind of like in the metal world, Rotting Christ. It's just like Rotting Christ is such a great metal band, but it's just like, ooh, yeah, that's a big one. That's a big name you got there. Anyway, I hope you liked it. They're a cool band. Again, when it comes to them, get the first record, Only Theater of Pain. That's the classic. And I will see you, God willing, next week.